Okay. Ma'am, your student is yet to call me. She didn't call.
Yeah, she's at the moment in touch with Prash. Some work is going on,
Okay.
and we will let you know.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, okay.
Did Dhatri joined? I think no, isn't it?
No, she is not here. Wait, let me check in participants list. Datri is not here. Who is this exploring the unending? Whether that is Datri?
No, it's Sujata.
Acha, okay, okay, okay. No, I couldn't find, na, so I thought like that is Datri. Datri has joined now.
Yes, Dhatri is there, yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
You're meeting after a long time, right?
Yeah.
Joyশ্ree joined.
Okay, yeah.
Hi,
Just now.
Joyশ্ree.
But her camera is not on. She is off.
No, Joyশ্ree, you are mute, I think.
Hello.
Please come on your camera. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the first time I'm seeing you.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm so
this is
sorry. I didn't
Yasin.
realize that my camera was off.
Now it
How
is
is
on.
everyone? Hi. Am I audible and
No,
visible
no,
now?
it is
Yeah.
camera is not on, I think. This is
Okay.
your photo.
No. She's on, Dr. Yashin. She's on.
Okay, 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 okay.
Let's wait for 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
I may I may have to rejoin in about 10 minutes. I hope that's not a problem. It won't be very long. It will just take me like a minute or so. Fine. Being off.
Yeah. No problem.
That okay? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sujata, you are mute actually. Can you please unmute once?
Yeah, myself? Yeah, Dr. Appanapil.
No, Sujata, actually, for the sound, I think she was thinking. No, no, Sujata, no. No, it's not audible.
She's mute, I think. Yeah,
Hello.
Now it's fine.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
All the problem is with headphone.
So I think we can start the session. Panelists are ready. So I think we
I'm
can
okay.
start the session. Panelists are ready. So I think we
I'm
can
okay.
start the session. Panelists are ready. So I think we
I'm
can
okay.
start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel discussion. So I think we can start. I request all the participants to mute. Panelists are ready. E-interaction and panel to bridge the gap between science and society by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and writes by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and writes by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and writes by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective ways of communicating aspires to the general public. Bridge the gap between science and society and write by finding effective and cognitive neuroscience of the university and cognitive neuroscience investigator of a nationally funded and cognitive neuroscience project of a nationally funded and cognitive neuroscience project type 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 nationally funded functions and spatial cognition as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness. Functions and spatial cognition, as well as visual awareness.
Slightly more deviating, I mean, not so deviating, but but a perspective of an early career researcher, because I have recently finished my PhD And in fact, funnily enough, that recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that the lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was announced. Recently finished the day I defended my PhD was the day that lockdown was
Sometimes you can plan a walk in the nature, as our colleague suggested. It's really wonderful and is really recharging. But we can close our eyes and just thinking nothing for sure, because to be in front of a computer the whole day because we have to accomplish with some deadline or something really destroys our brain, our eyes, our brain. So it's important to close your eyes for a bit or stay away from the computer for a bit, because otherwise we will have problems that are not minor. Like, for example, we cannot sleep well. So it's really important that our brain recharges each night, and we try to avoid looking to a screen before going to sleep. It's usual before I was looking at movies, for example, before going to sleep, but because I had a different schedule. So, for example, I had a break for lunch, then I had a break to go back home. So I was not constantly in front of the computer, but now I am working with the computer because it's the only mean that I can use to perform my job. So it's important not to use screens before going to sleep, directly, immediately before going to sleep, because otherwise our brain will stay activated. Yes, so it's like never closing up, never switching off the light, let's say internal light. And so we have to take this time away from the computers, otherwise we will get more stressed. So at least this is my recommendation. And of course, there is also a really good positive thing that I have more quality time with my son. So before I almost never saw him. I was saying to him goodbye in the morning and seeing him in the evening. And then, yes, of course, we could talk about what he did. But now we share his learning times, because I'm also his teacher from time to time. I have to help him doing homework, following the class. So I'm teaching him, I'm playing with him, I am sharing the time and the space with him, and really thankful for that, because in other situation it would be difficult to have this quality time. And the quality time is not only with him, it's also with me. So when I take my space, I have another tip just to close my answer to this question. I use a lot my 3 minutes, 5 minutes shower in the morning, because I prepare myself for the working day, and usually I have a lot of great ideas when I'm showering. And I make a massage with the water dropping from the shower. You know the massage water dropping from the shower. When I put my forehead directly there, and then I don't know why, but this really recharges me and gives me energy to start the day. And I really have good ideas while showering. This is really interesting. So yeah, this was my really positive review of this situation.
Thank you, Dr. Kiara. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Uma Kanga about her experience.
Thank you, Datri, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. Well, my story is a little different than the others because probably they are much younger to me. I'm older. My kids are old and they're already working and they are in jobs. So my responsibility towards family is not as much as the other panelists had to. So fortunately, I could continue my work the way I was doing before. So during the lockdown, my workplace is like only about 5 minutes drive. So I could still go to work, and I work for a hospital, so we were open and we had to be in the laboratory. I could visit my lab every day. I could continue my work, but we had limited work hours. So I would manage a little bit of home care and then be in my lab. And because there were no clinical samples, the hospital was so busy with the COVID patients, so the routine clinical work wasn't there. So the laboratory staff was kind of not burdened with their routine work. So what I did was due to social distancing, we had to split the staff in half, and we had 50% staff coming in. So I tried to give them different kind of roles in the lab. And what they did was, luckily for me, the staff became very more disciplined. They also had, there was no public transport, so my hospital arranged transport for the whole staff of the hospital. So they had very fixed timing for travel. It was not flexible, so they knew they are at work for 6 hours and they had to finish this part. So I gave them in parts, and then that was completed on the same day. And because we didn't have clinical workload, so we could think of research, and I could have one-to-one discussion with the researchers. And then the clinical work not being there, we could organize the lab. So what we did was we organized all the records of the lab. We maintained all the files, all the stocks of the reagents, and we felt very happy that we are now more organized in the lab. And sometimes due to so much of workload, we were never able to kind of clean up things in time, and sometimes we were messy and all those things, they got organized. And it was very encouraging that staff was, kind of, they also felt that they are not sitting idle, they are not doing their routine work, and they were involved with something, and I would appreciate them, and they would feel nice. And and then what I did was, in my office, in my laboratory where I work, in my main office, they were handling COVID research samples, and I was a little bit scared of the COVID samples, so I moved to my another office in the lab. And so I was close to the lab staff, and which they also enjoyed. Like, used to have good time talking about the stress they're going through, and I could share their problems, I could tell them how to de-stress, I could also monitor how they're taking care of social distancing and sanitization, no visitors. So that kind of interaction was very good. And what happened with us is that, because I used to travel a lot, go for many conferences, so I didn't have to put up any applications for conference travels. I saved a lot of my time for that. I could do everything virtual. And I wrote many grant applications for even for COVID research. And luckily, I'm doing one project on studying genetic factors for COVID infection. And then I tried to finish the manuscripts which were pending. So all these were very positive. And once you do one manuscript and submit, it was a very nice feeling, and everybody felt satisfied. So of course we couldn't have celebrations in the lab, but we still had good time to talk to each other. So all this was positive, and we didn't have too many administrative meetings in the department, because being a senior faculty, you have to spend time for that, but that was reduced. So everybody was busy in their own work, and this way I think we were more organized, because we knew there is less time to work. And fortunately at home, I have my spouse is very, very cooperative, and he took care of a lot of responsibilities at home, and I didn't have to do much, and I could very easily spend time with my work, whether I'm in the lab or I'm at home. So that was also a plus point. And we did many, my students could interact with me on the emails, on WhatsApp. And good part is that sometimes we used to write emails and people wouldn't respond, and now things became actually quicker, that people were answering on time, or answering the phones, answering the WhatsApp. So we could be rather quick, instead of being delayed for certain things. And because, like, for the clinicians that we interact, their outpatient service was a little less. They didn't have too many routine patients, so they could also spare time. So this way, I think I felt that everybody is trying to take, how can we be positive about what we have. The biggest stress was that, and continues to be, is that if anybody in the family has COVID, and my husband is diabetic and he's a cardiac patient, so I was very scared I don't bring any infection back from hospital, and I was very careful when I come back home, and I need to make sure that I disinfect and handle everything very carefully. And that really helped us till now to manage. So I think I would say that people became more organized during this time. I'm disappointed with one thing of myself, that what Clara said just now, that we need to switch off the computers. I'm not able to do that. I am very used to working late in the night, and I continue to do that. And I think today I learned from you that I should switch off my computer at least an hour before I go to bed. So I will try to learn and practice that. It's a good learning for me, and I'll try to impart that to my students and others as well. So that's how I take today's message, positive message for me, and hope to implement that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Uma. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Aparna Banerjee the same question. So, what is your opinion on this?
I think for me, I remember I went to India when the pandemic started, and I was back to Chile in this time when there was too much fear. So I was like taking too much care when I was back to Chile. I came back 8th of March, and then from 16th of March in Chile, everything got closed. Like we started having in India, we call it 140 that started for police implementation everywhere. Here we call it toke de queda. So in the night that started, we cannot go anywhere, and automatically the university stopped working. We had special permission to go if we want to implement the work. So I continued. I did three. I was that time actually. I had a very big tension in my head that my father is diabetic and how he is living alone in India with my mom, and there is no other person to help. Like for example, if I would have been there, I could have helped. So that time I thought that this is affecting me personally because I'm thinking too much about my parents. So that time I started reading more about how to come up with this stress, how we can have a positive and balanced life. So I started maintaining three things actually. One was I started thinking control, like this is not in my control and I cannot think anything thinking too much about this thing. There are a lot of things in the world which is not in our control, and we need to accept that. For in every case of life, we cannot just think how to do it. At some point of time, we cannot do any other thing other than waiting. The second thing is I started having a positive attitude to my life. I started thinking like, well, today I am going to do this, and I started making more plans, like more organized way. I started working. When I was working in laboratory every day, I was not so well organized. So I started having a positive attitude in life. And then there was one day, we had one session with Jayasree, and we were talking about all these things. So I learned one word from her. I try to learn every day one things for one good or positive things from a person. And she told a very beautiful word, being assertive about life. It's not a positive or negative, but being assertive about life. So we have to talk more about the positive things in life. We need to have a positive attitude towards life. We can call a friend. We can talk to our family whenever we want. Earlier, for example, in my case, I was not able to talk to my family other than night, but because I was in laboratory. But now, because my laboratory shifted to home, I am working from home mostly. So I can talk to my parents whenever I want. This is some positive things that I have in life. I also remember before March, when I got the assistant professorship, the sudden change from postdoc to assistant professorship happened, and I got a project also. I was suddenly like from student to one step higher, and I was thinking how I will balance it. And COVID, this situation of pandemic, thankfully gave me a lot of time so that I can, like Mama was saying, that we can now communicate our papers. That was for 6 months in a halt. We can now think about the new projects. We can start writing something new that actually we are doing in Bioclues nowadays. And then we can go for writing some grant. This time I have written 3 grants as a collaborator to some other projects. So this is some at the time that we can give more time on us. I was like left reading poetry for a long time. As a Bengali, I love Bengali literature, English literature too. After I think 10 years, 12 years, I again started writing poetry. I again started reading more poetries. I am not so religious person. I actually believe on all the religions. But when I put one incense stick, and the feeling that I get in home, like everyone was talking, Sujata was talking, we should have one workplace that where we feel good. So here I have the balcony, and I can see my plants, and I can see the sun, and that gives me a more positive vibe to work. I think for me, I'm more positive than earlier to work. I'm more productive, not in terms of gaining something, but at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, I feel like, well, today I have done something. I have a cat and I can play more with her. Earlier, I don't remember when she was little and when she grew up, because the day morning I was going, evening I was coming back. I was just losing the time she was growing up. And now I can see that 1 year back she was little and now she is big, and I can really see how her behavior is changing, how she is more attached with me. And this every little thing of life we need to treasure. So for me, these are the things that is positive in my life. There is obviously a lot of negativity, but like I told, we cannot control on the things that we have in our life. So the one word we need to remember is control. The second word is assertive. We need to be assertive about our life. And the third word is being positive about life. So these three things we can do during the COVID time in comparison to pre-COVID times, where we can have some good moment in our life to treasure. Obviously, one certain time this COVID situation will go, but this should give us some important insight to us, some important me time to us, so that later we don't have any feeling that, well, we had time but we could not rejoice it. That's my point of view.
Thank you, Dr. Appanna. So before going to the next question, I would like to ask the participants if they have any questions, you can just type in the text box. So at the end of the session, we'll have some discussion. Okay, so now we'll go to the second question. How much did the stress factor impacted your quality of work, and how did you cope up with it? So I would like to ask Dr. Jayashree. So what is her experience
Uh,
regarding this?
Okay. Thank you again for asking me this question. I have a three-pointer here to explain exactly how COVID impacted me personally. As I said before, that my experience is slightly different because it comes from an ECR's perspective, which is an early career researcher. Plus, it was just after I had defended my PhD. So I think that came right after the lockdown was announced gave me something called as a, I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's something called as the second year blues. It's a terminology which is used, I think, quite a lot in not just academia, but in academic sense. It means that, you know, the feeling that you have at the second year of your PhD, which is usually like you start to grasp the immensity of the situation of the project that you're in. You understand that your experiments will not immediately yield to results, and so you're not getting enough results. Finding that things are not as easy as you thought of them to be. So I felt the same being locked in and isolated in my house, because I knew that things are not the way I wanted them to be. I was not progressing in my career as much as I wanted to be. I was not getting the results that I had expected that I was going to get. And I was just beginning to grasp the immensity of the situation that we're, not just me, but we're all in. Secondly, like I told in the previous one, that the concept of time was cued for me. And I believe that it's something that the pandemic has a side effect for almost all of us. Some days would just pass in a blink, whereas some days would just like pass without me even realizing that days have passed. And thirdly, I was getting information sprung on me from all different directions, being Twitter, being it Instagram, being it WhatsApp forwards. Everybody was trying to find what was going on. They were trying to explore what is COVID. They were having their own perceptions of what COVID is. They were trying to diagnose different people from COVID, and there were all these conspiracy theories and all these potential solutions to combating COVID that was sprung on me from all different directions. So all in all, it was quite stressful to be in the middle of all of this. So it took me some time to readjust, to understand this from a perspective of a scientist. And what I understood was that first and foremost comes the acknowledgement that this is a situation, this is a pandemic that not just me, not just my locality, but it's the world, as we as a species are undergoing a really huge problem. It's a collective problem of our entire species that is happening, and it's okay to be scared. It's okay that things are not, these are unprecedented times. It's okay that we don't have a path forward. It's okay that we don't have a solution, a clear solution. So the acknowledgement was a huge milestone for me. Secondly, I decided to switch off social media for a bit, which means that I decided that it was beneficial for me to have just one source of information, which means that news articles I just refer to BBC, and all other news agencies were shut off for me. I think that really helped me to formulate my own ideologies and formulate my own perspective as to what was going on. Thirdly, like I told before, that I found it extremely therapeutic to take walks out in the nature. And I was extremely lucky because I have it right outside my house. But I really think that dissociating yourself from this environment, from at least in my environment, which is just like a 19-meter square apartment, was really therapeutic to me. And then again, dissecting my tasks, my daily tasks, into specific motivating determinants as to what I'm doing and why this is important. And then I finally realized that this was the time that I can actually use what I learned in my PhD and put it to good use. Why I say this is, I mean, I just want to give a quick recap about what my PhD was about. It was basically to understand if altruism, the ability to be of help to another organism, if it exists in plants. And that was, in a sense, my PhD. And I actually found out that if a plant is undergoing a stressful time, another organism and another plant, which is essentially the neighbor, or you can consider it in colloquial terms as a family member, can understand, empathize, and provide help as and when required. I think this is a very beautiful analogy if I try to understand this and put it in terms of what I did to overcome the stress that I personally was facing. I think that when you provide help to somebody else with no direct benefit for it for your own sake, I think that's a really, I think that's not just important for your own sake, but it may be ultimately important for our survival as a species. And I think the greatest gift of evolution comes to us because the ability to be of help, to be an altruist, exists in all organisms, be it bacteria, be it fungi, be it animal kingdoms, and to plants as well. That's what my PhD gave. So I took that time to form a mental health support group, which is funnily how I met Aparna. I decided that we are collectively going through something which is huge, which is something that nobody anticipated. And I think the best way to combat that is by doing it together. And I think my aim, the core aim for the mental health support group I have is just by being by each other's side, listening to each other's struggles, your stories, your predicaments that you have, and by just putting a listening ear out there and to just root for one another is the way that we all can collectively come out of this. And that's essentially all the things that I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jayashree. I would like to ask Sujata, what is her experience? Sujata, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. Hi, Datri. Yeah,
Yeah. Can you share your
yeah,
experience regarding this?
yeah. So actually, yeah. So I'll say that my experience was like because I got job during the pandemic time. So the process was like different. It was like my interview. It happened through Zoom. Then after I was hired, also I was introduced to my colleagues online. I was able to see their faces to get myself familiarized with them. Like today it's very difficult actually to see each other's faces because of the mask we are wearing, and it's kind of really like weird or like strange. Like even though we see each other, we really don't know each other, so it's very difficult. And even in addition to that, at our workplace we try to have like virtual happy hours, and like so that people working from home are not really like left out. So basically like socializing, talking about things other than work. So that's another thing, because I feel that in order to like work effectively, we also need to have like good interactions as well. So I mean that's what we have been like doing. And apart from that, I think like um, even like this I think even and apart from that, since I get a lot more also like uh, the advantage of like working from home, I do also get to experience the other side of it as well. So yeah, that's what I can like I can say, like some of the positive aspects of really like communicating with each other, build a good rapport among ourselves, and really get good productive work. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Doctor. Thank you, Sujata. I would like to ask Dr. Kiara. So, What is your opinion and how you cope up the stress during COVID?
Yes, my benefits in my work first is that, well, it would be difficult to keep on studying, because this is important in life, to keep knowing more about our job, or keep learning about stuff. I could take remote class in a distant universities. So, for example, I'm learning how to program computer with R or with MATLAB, which I really wanted to do. I always wanted to learn how to use MATLAB, but I couldn't do, because I always had to wait for a workshop or something like that. But now I'm taking these studies in a Columbia University or John Hopkins University, and I will never go there. Of course, this is not positive, because going there would mean knowing another country and so on. But for the moment, it's really nice, because I can keep working, staying focused on my work, and still learning something more. And this is really important for me, because I don't have to move from my place to learn something, and I can keep one hour in the evening to learn. And this really helped me. And then as my colleague said before, Uma said before, I finished some papers. I could write some papers that were standing there procrastinating these papers, but now I have time. I can start new papers, and something that I was really not thinking in the moment that I wrote my project. Because of the COVID, I had the possibility, and I had to actually change something in my project, because in my project I had to go to the lab and collect data from people. So I needed to take them to make a EEG, electroencephalography, and I had them perform a task. But now I can't, because any experiment with people is banned and actually would be really unsafe. So I had to reschedule my project, because it was 3 years I had to perform many experiments, and now I had to change the time. And also I took advantage to change the paradigm a little bit, and I must say that now it's better. Now the project is even better than the one that I planned before the COVID. So this really in this time, I had time to read more literature, to study more, as I said, to learn some methodology to perform my stuff. And I understood that it was better the way, it's better now than before. So I could rethink my project. And then I would say that I learned the importance of now. So Aparna, really wise Aparna, told us before about being assertive. That for sure is true. But now, the now is the only thing that we manage, actually. And I didn't realize before, because I was always planning in the future, I would do this, in 1 month, I would do that, in 3 months, I would go there. But now we cannot do that, because we don't know when will it end. So we don't know if there will be a reinfection in 1 year until the vaccine is not there. So somehow, some people could get frustrated. And actually, I was in the beginning, because everybody asked me, when are we going to do that? I don't know. My answer was always, I don't know. When will we do that? In 1 year? I don't know. But now I learned, thanks to this situation, that the only control that I have is about my actions in now. Because the past is already past, and the future we don't know. We don't have the control, as Aparna said, on the thing that happened around us. So the only control that we have is to adapt. it's like the species, we have to adapt to the conditions, and if the condition now changed, we have to change with the conditions. So just embrace the change, not just fight because I want to be like before, I don't want to be like that. You have to follow the I don't know, the river, I would say, of life. And yes, of course, the importance of now and the short-term plans, so we can have control about the things that we do each day and in the short term, like tomorrow. And if we procrastinate, can we procrastinate too much? I wouldn't say, but I would say that even procrastination sometimes is good in the situation, because, for example, when I procrastinate, like for the next day, I always do something useful. Actually, that is, I don't know, change the closet, the clothes in the closet, really clean very well the kitchen that I never did before. So somehow, if you accept that from time to time you can be good with yourself and procrastinate a little bit, it's not like procrastinating forever, it's just like for the day after, so it's okay. And then the fourth thing that I learned that changed to good actually is because now I can talk to people much more than before. I am really a talkative person. You might guess from my interventions right now, but I like to talk face to face for sure. But I never had time to talk with all the people, and because I had to go to work. Now, sorry, I cannot talk because I'm in the lab. Now I'm performing my experiment. Now I can't, or I was planning what to do, and so I was busy. But now, as Aparna said, I can talk to my parents, I can talk to my friends in Italy that really, it was a long time that I didn't talk to them. And I don't need a social network to know what they are into, because I can talk to them. I can write them in WhatsApp, I can talk to them with Skype, with Zoom. We can make a big meeting, a family meeting with a lot of people. So basically, now it's incredible because now that I'm assumed not to be so much social, I can talk to people abroad, or in Germany, or in Italy, in the US, or other people from here, from Chile, that I didn't meet so often. So yes, these are the best things for me. And I'm really happy that I could learn through a negative situation. It could be thought like a negative situation, but you have, as Aparna said, you have to extrapolate the positive things in everything that happened.
Yeah.
So thank you for asking.
Thank you, Dr. Kiera, for sharing your experience. Dr. Uma ma'am, please share your thoughts. Ma'am, kindly unmute your microphone. Uh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I was off for a bit because my mother's at home and I'm looking after her. She had COVID, and we have to be very careful with all the things that we do. So I think we were discussing about the stress factor that's impacting the work.
Yes. Yes. Ma'am.
I must tell you that I really went through a lot of stress in the very beginning. It so happened that as soon as everybody got to know about COVID, being in a hospital setup, there was a lot of interest in research, and many people started projects on COVID. And so happened in my department, and many of my colleagues were wanting to do some patient care support and some research. And we were not very sure what kind of protocols to follow, what are the SOPs. We were not prepared with the SOPs. And I was not confident that, everyone's SOP is good. So I was very scared what's going around us in the department. So we had to be very, very cautious with the everyday going. And honestly tell you that I took off for 2 weeks, and I said, I'm not coming to lab because I'm not very sure how conscious everybody is. And I don't want to take any infection back home and stuff. So that was very, very stressful part. And later, it's gradually, when you get to see how the work is going on and how people are improving with their SOPs and prepared, one gets the confidence that I think we will be able to survive in this scenario and we must continue work. But even during the stress time, I think I was sitting at home and I was working from home, like all of you are, not going from the very beginning. We were going, and then we still managed when I was at home to work. I did some of the, I listened to many talks and many people, how their life they're spending. And I learned very good thing that one of the persons whom I heard was, he said that when I get any paper to review, I used to take long, and I make sure that the manuscript is reviewed in 2 days and back to the journal so that the authors are very happy with it. And I thought that, well, I think I'm taking a lot of time and I should not do that. So during the pandemic, every review that I got from any journal, I made sure that I wanted to, do it in, if not 48 hours, at least 72 or 3 or 4 days. And I tried to do my best to improve myself in that scenario, that I could, read and review, and I learned out of those reviews. So that's how I tried, and that gave me a feeling that I'm very, my output is good. So I was not feeling that my output is poor, and that was a sense of satisfaction, that, and it released my stress. That now I'm not so much stressed, and I can still manage in this scenario. That was one thing that happened, was how to release my stress. Plus, I think the students were very cooperative, and they also learned. Some of them could not come to work for weeks and maybe for 2-3 months, and they were very cooperative whenever instructions were given that the work has to be done in this particular time period. So that also was very satisfying, that although we are not seeing face to face, but we are being very, very systematic, and we learn to be on time, because okay, we have only this many hours, and tomorrow only I can meet for this much time. Let's have an online meet, and we could do a discussion online on Zoom or any platform. I could even interact with my clinical colleagues and finish those pending work. So it was easy. Plus, I think there was also stress for the family. My children being independently living, and I was very worried how they are going to handle themselves, whether they will be able to take all the precautions, because household work, when they are with parents, it's much easier, and then when they're on their own, they have to handle everything. So like every time on the phone and cautioning them and telling them, and they said, okay, we are handling it well, don't you worry. So gradually over the weeks, we learned that yes, they are pretty much well organized, and in fact, sometimes I learned from them. Okay, do it this is a smarter way to do it, and I also learned, and I said, okay, fine, that's better. So that also released the stress. Once you know that everybody in the family is safe and handling well, that released the stress. At workplace, I think having online journal clubs, having online seminars, online clinical rounds, all of that also helped. We learned, and my hospital started doing COVID grand rounds for the whole country. So it was, kind of a YouTube and live telecast, and we used to have discussions, and we learned how people in the hospital are managing the disease, and it was giving us the confidence that if anything goes wrong, we'll be fine, and there are people to take care, and things are getting better, and that released the stress. I think in about a couple of months, we were like pretty much organized. In like March and April was very, very stressful. From May onwards, we got a little bit more organized. So I would say that, of course, it is a very bad disease, and looking at global scenario, it was very disheartening to lose so many people on Earth. But I think everybody has learned a lot. And the topics that we never bothered to listen, like I don't work on vaccinology, but I learned from so many seminars on vaccines. What are the different kind of vaccine, which vaccine is doing well, how the things are performing. It was a great learning experience. So I've never in my life listened to so many seminars in 20 weeks that I listened now. So I think I improved my understanding of many aspects in biology, which I thought I'm in genetics, and I know quite a bit of it, but I think there's more to learn. And every day we learn something. And the positive thing is, for example, we had in our Women in Bioclues group, we just one day decided that, my name is Uma, it starts with you. Let's speak 2 positive words. And I mentioned 2 positive words with you. And then everybody in the group mentioned 2 positive words with the alphabet starting of their name. And I think we spent a good time learning positive things from everybody in the group. And I did that with a few groups every week. And I really, really got the positivity out of it. So I think we have to just find a way where we can get positive energy and learn. And also I did one thing is that I started, like Clara said, that, interacting with family, and Jayashri also mentioned, Aparna also mentioned. I interacted with my college friends and other groups and then learned from how they are handling in different parts of the world. And I believe me, every part of the world was, handling it differently, but they were successful in, managing things. So I learned things from my friends in US in their labs, and I tried to imbibe those things in my lab. I learned from people in Europe, and I learned from people in Australia, and I think it was learning all throughout. So that also gives me a feeling. And I got introduced to a few people. For example, I met Prash, and I got introduced to Bioclues, and I'm very happy that I'm here in Bioclues. And now I'm having scientific interactions with Prash, and it's really a nice feeling that you get to know more people and you get to do more science with even with the pandemic. So that's positive, and we will, I think, continue this in future as well. So it's going to be positive. Only keeping family safe and friends safe and things is the main concern at the moment. Yeah. So I think lots of positivities to take with us.
Thank you, Dr. Uma ma'am, for sharing your experience. I would like to ask Dr. Aparna to share her experience regarding this.
I think I want to talk about the point of view of of someone who likes to talk on conservation. I remembered that I went to collect water sample from the hot springs. I worked on hot springs in my PhD also. So I remember, like, I used to feel very irritated when I used to go to hot spring and see people are taking the bath unnecessarily and destroying the natural habitat. Many times I even talk to them, going to them, look, this is what can happen to you if you take a hot spring bath. It's not always beneficial to your health. You are just destroying the natural habitat of the bacteria. They looked at me looking like, is this woman mad? Like, why she's talking this kind of things, unnecessary things? Because you cannot communicate science to everyone. I felt that all the time. Who don't want to hear. But I went to collect samples after the pandemic started. In 14 consecutive days, I traveled different parts of the mountain and this mountain. And the difference I saw here, earlier where there was a lot of people, now there is no people. And the site of the hot springs are beautiful, with almost no plastic packets or no cups, nothing near here and there. The biofilms of the bacteria are less disturbed than the earlier. And I felt so good that maybe we are inside the home, but the world is not only about us. The world have different other species and who deserve the world just like us. And finally, get all of them get a time to breathe. Finally, we are inside the home, but they are thriving beautifully in their own location. And I think that we all are in home. We are saving electricity in the workspace. We are saving unnecessary coffee, unnecessary things that we normally take in the meetings during the office, and we are still all doing the same or the more inside the home. So this is a time we all need to think that what is really important in the life. If we are really doing something extra, if we are really destroying the world with doing so much extra thing that is not needed, so this is a moment, I think, this is this give us a time to re-question ourselves that even we can do a lot of things with very little effort. So much effort is not needed. And we can see already how much there have been a little positive impact on the air quality. There is positive impact on the animals biodiversity, plant biodiversity, because when anthropogenic footprint is less, obviously the world will thrive better than the it was earlier. So if we think about the world belongs to all of us, the world is one species is definitely in a pandemic situation, but the rest of the species at least is breathing after a very long time. So this is a positive thing that I all the time keep in mind. I finally can I think that we are not taking any step for conservation, but still at least a little benefit the world is getting for this time. This is a positive thing. The second thing, I was actually I was in a I was social networking site for a long time, but in during the pandemic I saw this is a pandemic. This is a pandemic of science. This is a pandemic of social networking site. People are spreading wrong news for no reason about coronavirus will go when the summer will come. Coronavirus will go if you take this medicine, for example. And people are forwarding this without any knowledge. So I was going through one recent publication in Science magazine about it's we in Women in Biology forum, actually we had a journal club discussion in weekend on this publication that I came across. And this publication belongs to one professor in Spain. He was during the pandemic was diagnosed with chronic anxiety depression, and he came up with the depression by 6 points, and the paper is about a scientist 6 point tackling to the anxiety. And what they call on that was the we all do every day. For this reason we are here. The first reason is give more time on what we have, for example family, for example plants, for example a pet, for example kid, anything. Give time more on that, because they are going to help you when you are in a problem. Being a scientist, your publications will not talk to you. Being a scientist, your projects will not talk to you, but the other things will talk to you. The second thing is less on the social networking side, so that we can get less stress during the time. These were actually the 2 points that for me was really helpful, that we all are doing. The third point, there have been 6 points like this, and this publication is very interesting. If all of you want, I can share the publication here also, so that we can have how one scientist who have faced anxiety and came up with the anxiety during that time. So these are some of the insight that I felt. Like one was I kept positive attitude to the life, and second is I started thinking more about others. Though I was like being a microbiologist, I was thinking more about the biological diversity or microbial diversity of the extreme environment, or the unexplored environment should not have some disturbances. But if we think about the world, we should think that the world is finally breathing after a long time. So for me, this is the 2 points that let me live in peace during this time, and we are all more relaxed than earlier, and we are all getting more me time than earlier. These are my points. That's it.
Dhatri, you are muted.
Thank you, Dr. Aparna. So we would go to our last question. That is, what were some of the positive aspects that you found in your area of work or research, being a woman scientist? Whether it could be your workplace culture or socialization or collaborations or any other thing. So, Dr. Jayshree, would you like to answer?
Yeah, hi. So in my case, like I told you before, like my story is a little bit different here, because I think I'm like one of the early researchers in this panel. So my positive experiences that come from my this time that we've spent in COVID is quite a lot, actually, and I want to list them out and tell you exactly why I'm saying what I'm saying. First and foremost, I will always be thankful to this year, despite all the uncertainty that this year has given to us. It has also given us the very much needed time to sit back and to reflect upon what our actions have been as a species. And Aparna just put this really beautifully, to see that we are the only species that's inside the house, that's being caged right now, but every other species is getting their time to thrive here. And I think that in itself puts a lot of things in perspective as to what our actions are having the effects on, not just ourselves, not just what we have done to the planet, but also because this planet does not just belong to us. it belongs to all the species that it harbors, right? So this thing, one thing that I will always be thankful for this year is to have given me the time to just sit back and reflect upon what my actions have been causing and what implications of my actions are. But besides that, I think my this time in my isolation gave me the time for a lot of networking opportunities, because this time has also given us the opportunity to see that not all meetings, not all conferences need to be done in physical person, and they can all be easily transferred to virtual platforms, and that really eases a lot of things for people. For me, it gave me a lot of time to network with the people in my field, to get to know what is out there. And as Kiara also really nicely mentioned, that I spent also a lot of time trying to review my knowledge in my subject, and to have more time to read articles, to form an understanding, a much better understanding of what I had when I was defending my PhD. It gave me a lot of time to network,
Jayashree,
to
can I add
email
a
people,
point to
to
you?
understand.
Jayashree, can I add a
Sorry.
point to you? Can I add
Yes,
a point
please.
to yourself? Sorry, I'm interrupting in between.
Please.
But I really like to
No, no.
comment that you mentioned about the conferences, and there was a very beautiful article in Nature where they had a cartoon, and the cartoon was that one side there's a speaker at the stage, and there's a big auditorium full of people sitting, and
Mm-hmm.
on the right panel of that same picture was a big screen on the computer, and we had 40 people on the screen, and there was one person on this side and one listening to them. So it was exactly the reverse, but we still are able to learn. So it was a beautiful Nature article talking about we still can do the same things, we just are thinking differently. So what you said was
Exactly.
exactly the same in that article, and I would love to share that article also with everybody. Beautifully written,
Yeah.
how we can take the positives from this and still go on with our science. So that's wonderful.
Yes.
Many times we think alike.
I would love to read that.
I would say share
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please go ahead.
I would love that. Yes. So, like you very nicely mentioned that in that picture, how you said that there were 40 people on that one screen. I have a really nice story to tell about that. Like I told you before, that in my defense, at the last minute of my defense, everything had to be done virtually. The night before my defense, the lab was shut down. We had no idea how to get things done. So I was really disappointed, because I was looking forward to that day for a very long time. My
Uh,
parents were here. They had come from India to France to see me defend. My friends were there, and nobody could attend. But then at the last minute, people just came up with this to stream my defense online. And I kid you not, more than 150 people watched the 4 hour entire seminar. And I think that would have never been possible if I was doing it and just sitting in that really one tiny room with just like a capacity of 25 people. So I found that to be one of the best days of my life, actually, ultimately. So besides that networking, I thought that I could also put in a lot of effort into communicating science, because I believe, like, as scientists, we have this responsibility to not to disseminate the knowledge that we are learning about the world that we are in. Because what are scientists? No matter what field we are in, we're just trying to understand the world in our own different ways. And these times have really shone a light on the importance of believing real data. Data does not lie. Scientists have this responsibility to come up there to talk about what's right and what's wrong, and we need to create an environment where scientists are not being looked at as with questioning eyes. And there is a reason why there is this gap between society and science, that people don't generally want to believe a scientific advice. And I wanted to do something about that as well, and that's why I have been involved in a lot of scientific communication activities. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I was just going about my life in that routine that I had before. Like, my life before this COVID was like 7 a.m sharp, be in the lab, leave, like, just keep working like a robot, and then just come back home and just have literally no energy to do anything else. And as much as I enjoyed being in the lab, this really gave me the much needed time that I needed to just explore what other ways I can contribute to science than just being in the lab and doing the research. Because even though that is really important, it's equally important for us to come out there and talk about this. And forums like this are really an incredible opportunity for people to disseminate exactly what's going on. And besides that, I gave a lot of time to reflect my choices, because I want to be a scientist. I really want I see myself as being a scientist. For I mean, that's a way of life for me. I don't see myself being anything else. But being in like having this time to reflect upon my choices gave me the time to understand that the way we have been doing science may need a little bit of change. The way we've been taught that you're supposed to work, that exactly what I said, like you're supposed to work like robots, you're supposed to, like, no matter what problems you've been your mental stress, everything has to be put on a side because you're a scientist. You have to be productive, you have to be at 100% productivity scale no matter what crisis you may be going through. So this gave me a time to really sit down and think about how I wanted to proceed in my career and how I wanted to do science. I want to really, like, my long term mission now has become to humanize science and to humanize scientists. And my mental health support group really is a testament to that, because I really want to create an environment where positivity prevails in a research environment, because research in itself is really hard. It's filled with a lot of anxiety. I mean, you fail 100 times in order to find that one thing that does work. So there is no need for it to be worsened, and that's why I created that community as well. And having done all of that, what you talked about collaboration is because I understood that I wanted to follow my own passion in science, and I wanted to create my own research ideas. So this gave me a lot of time to think about how I don't want to follow somebody else's passion, what they have, what they conduct in their labs, and how I wanted to try and answer my own questions that I have in terms of plant biology. And I cold called a lot of professors, and finally I managed to form really valuable collaborations with scientists who are like key players in their own area, to have real conversations with them, to talk about their interests, to actually have that time to build that kind of a relationship with scientists which can go long term into a very fruitful collaboration. And I'm really happy that I got the chance to do that because of all the spare time I had in my hands to read the literature, to know about what their research is about, and not and to see how they can contribute and how I can be of help to them. And I'm really happy because of all of these things, I've recently just collaborated with 3 different scientists, from microbiology to chemistry to evolution, to submit grants for following my own research passion. And I hope things go well, but I don't think I would have ever had the courage to go about this way if I was just going about the life that I was the life that you've been taught to go, like you do a PhD and then you find a postdoc and then you do that. I think this time has really been very amazing, and I would always be thankful for 2020 for giving that to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jayashree. Sujata, kindly share your experience.
Yeah, so I'll take this like opportunity to actually like uh, sum up everyone's, like I'll take certain points from everyone, from Dr. Uma, Dr. Aparna, Dr. Chiara, Dr. Jayashree, and yeah, and I'll just say like my like experience. So for first, I think I mean the positivity for me is, first is I got a job. I'm trying to advance in my career. There's a lot more flexibility being offered in my work. People around me currently are now like I've seen that there's a lot of change. They're listening to my problems as a woman. They are more compassionate. Definitely, well, as a whole, we ourselves have learned a lot from during this time, like you know, adapting as like adapting to different situations, no matter how challenging it is. So that's another thing. And I have also been associated with Bioclues since a long time, especially being a part of the Women in Biology group. So, in terms of collaboration, it's like we have collaborated using online tools with different women researchers with varying interests, and we have come up with good papers. So, I feel that as a women biologist, I think we should collaborate more and more and come up with good ideas, innovative ideas, and carry forward our research to new heights. So, like, yeah, I cannot agree more. There is like a lot of negativity, a lot of stress. There will be. Hope we can, you know, reduce it and you know, cope up with it better and better. But apart from all this negativity, I think this time in general, like it can be utilized for catching up on things. like learning a new skill, taking up online courses, like even Dr. Uma also mentioned, like finishing like articles or grant pending articles. Then even like hobby we wanted to do for a long time, but we never got the time. And most importantly, getting involved in COVID related research, because I feel that more funds are getting directed to this field, and more importance is actually given to the healthcare industry. Like more focus is now being also being being directed to this. So I think this would be a very good time to turn all the negativity into positivity and showcase our scientific expertise. And I would also like take this time to actually thank Bioclues for organizing this, and also like providing me this wonderful opportunity to share this wonderful panel with all great scientists. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sujata.
Yeah.
Dr. Kiara, kindly share your
Yes,
thoughts.
thank you. Yeah, how the things improved. Let's say the things that I mentioned before should. I mean, the time, the space, the things that I said before, the dimension, the new dimension, internal dimensions, are all part of my new experience. Let's say, so I would say that that the learning part that I said before in the previous answer is the best part, because I never learned before how to teach, for example, and now I follow with so many workshops about teaching with the. And I learned how to use multimedia, how to include multimedia in my presentations, for example, how to discuss about a video, or how to organize the interventions by the students. And I really like this new way of interacting, because of course the in-person the presential classroom is different, but it's not bad. The other way is not bad. So we could maybe get to reach an equilibrium, let's say, about things that we can do virtually and things that we can do presentially. So this is the idea of not wasting time, not wasting. For example, as Aparna said, when you have world meeting about the climate change or the problem of the world, and you organize this conference or this meeting, wasting money, wasting plastic, about food, about anything that you can imagine a convention, an international convention could mean. This is against the proposition of the why the meeting has been organized. So we are trying to save the planet, or are we? I don't know. This is confusing. So just think about how much is contaminating to take a plane, so a flight and go to another place. It's a lot of I don't know. It's contradictory, I would say. So maybe there are some things that we can still go presentially, because it's part of the learning. But there are some other things that we can do via remote. So for me, the dissemination can be do both ways. So for the people who is living here, I will be presentially, and for other people all around the world, we can disseminate science in this way that you are doing, trying to reach them, many people all around the world, not just here. Then I have something to say, similar to what my colleague said. At home, I want to use some of my time to play my guitar, for example. I didn't I didn't have time to play guitar since a long time, but now I can take like 20 minutes just like as a break and play my guitar, or I play some video games with my son, for example. So we share that time, we enjoy, we have some time together, and I also enjoy. Or for example, cooking. Now I have time to cook some recipes that I almost forgot from my granny. So there are a lot of interesting things that I can do now. It is not about hobbies; it's about quality time for myself. These things really made me happy before, and then I couldn't do it for a long time. Um, and now I even have plants on my balcony. I never managed to make anything grow. So I had flowers, but they never grew up because I forgot to give water. It's now I have time. I give time to my plants. I am happy to see them grow and to look at their green. They are so green. I never thought about these things before. I was too self-centered before, my job, my time, my schedule. So I find that this is really nice, and I feel safe in my place. I feel that in my place I have everything. I have the freedom to choose what I'm doing. And now I grew up a little bit also in my career, because now I'm part of the ethical committee in the university. So actually I revise projects and I accept them. I revise if they of course, in the part of human subjects, in experiment with human volunteers. I really like because I through reading other people projects, I'm learning how to write my own projects, because I'm thinking what their projects are missing, and I say, okay, when next time I write my project, I will remember that, and things like that. So I think that I'm improving a lot in this time, and the time that now I can manage, probably when everything will be again presential, there will be a new challenge for me to readapt to the normal life, let's say. But for the moment, I'm really, really well organized, and I like this. And yes, these are the best changes in my my job, in my career. Of course, the things that I mentioned before, writing papers, analyzing data that I collected sometime before and I never analyzed, things like that. Really, really grateful. And I enjoyed the vision from a partner. Actually, I share her point. There are many pictures in Italy, for example, but also here in Chile, of some animals coming in the center of the city. So there are some wild animals coming in the streets when nobody was there. And so this image was making me thinking, okay, nature is taking the space again, because we put like the city in the middle of something, and now they are going there and we are not scaring them anymore. So this is really beautiful part of the pandemic, because we are obliged to give more space to nature. Actually, we took your space. So it's like, yeah, this is a beautiful reflection, I think, from a partner.
Thank you,
Thank you
Dr. Kira.
for
Thank you
giving
for
me
your
the
wonderful
space.
insights. Yeah. Dr. Uma, ma'am, can you please share your experience?
I think I already expressed my view that about how we handle the stress and all the positivity. I don't have much to say, but I can just agree with all the panelists. What they're saying is exactly the true feeling that we need to take forward. We need to look after the people on Earth, not only humans, all other species. We need to be more disciplined. Human race always thought that we are the best. I think we now learn to see that we are not the best. There is a lot of scope to improve, and anything can happen anytime. So we have to be also prepared for the worst. We need to know that whatever sometimes we think, I need to have a very big job. I need to have everybody in the family has to be good. All my career and my colleagues have to be nice. My career path should be good. So we have a lot of dreams and aspirations, but we have to be prepared that anything comes our way ourselves, and we have to kind of adapt to that. So that one, I think we didn't have that much of adaptability in ourselves, no matter how much we feel that we were adaptable. Now I think each one of us has realized that there is a lot that we need to be prepared for. So that adaptability, I think, has come in now by force, but now people will kind of be prepared that yes, no matter what comes, we have to still work We have to meet people. We have to be disciplined. Those are the positive things that we should take with us. We miss a lot of socializing, and that's also very important in life to keep your morale high. And I just hope that time should come that we all can, meet our friends, meet our families, and hug each other. We want to convey. Now, we may be talking on the video calls, we may be doing anything, but the warmth that we can give in person, bring that back. And that human touch relax us quite a lot. So, keeping in mind, like Aparna said about the other species, I never have pets in my house, and my son has got a pet now, and I've seen so many people have pets, and they're looking after animals, they're caring for them. I feel guilty I haven't done that, so I should also do sometimes something for other species. That's a good thing. And I was very lazy. I never used to exercise. I think I started going for a walk, and of course I could not continue that for all time. But I think I should learn from here that I need to take care of my hair. I should walk. Switch off the computer before. So that the two things I will learn today and move forward. So I think I want to wish everyone all the best and with a positive vibe. Let's be more interactive, let's be more sharing, and have these kind of platforms where we can very easily express our thoughts and learn from others. So very, very good experience. And thanks to Bioclues, Bioclues for taking this up and giving me an opportunity to share and learn from you all. Every day together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mona. Now I request Dr. Aparna to share her views.
Thank you, Datti. I think I have also already shared all the points about how I failed during pre-COVID times, how I failed when the COVID started, and then how I was also at one point of time anxious about the things. But then I tried to take some positivity by reading articles on how to get positivity, not from social networking site or internet, because going through some specialist point of view will really help us. Like today I came to know from Kiara that before sleep I should not put computer on. This every day I was doing, every day I used to work till 2 till 1, and then I sleep just after closing my computer. And it's true that I felt I need time to sleep. When I'm really open with the computer for a long time, I feel stress in the eyes. So these are the things that we always should learn from the specialists from their own field. And the thing that I will before end up I want to say is like during this time of pandemic, before that only, actually I was attached with Bioclues for a long time. So Bioclues specifically is a bioinformatics society, but we talk here, we all the time I have seen we talk about inclusion in science, we talk about positivity, and from Women in Bioclues, we again started the journal club. We started talking about good publications. We all came up in a place. So we are talking more about COVID and this time, and women researcher. Definitely, women researchers in this time are underrepresented in science for a long time. And during the COVID time, that suddenly get through another low high, because the women have different family responsibilities in their home. But it's good to see that the women researchers are also coming forward through a platform, and we all are connected to one another. We can again collaborate more, even we can collaborate more than earlier. One reply we used to get back 2 3 7 days back, and now we are getting the reply back in one day, because everyone in their computer. And I feel happy that women in WIB forum in Bioclues are doing so great to to have this kind of events. Also in Bioclues there have been a lot of events other than these that we are doing, like popularizing bioinformatics among children, that Sujata and Dr. Renuka and all others are doing now. So it's this is the time where we can really communicate science. This is the positive part of this situation, that earlier when we were not able to communicate science, we only needed to be present person by person. Now we can do everything in the home situation through the computer in virtual world. So this is a time where we can really be connected with each other by saving time, by saving a lot of in renewable resources. So basically we are saving the world. And this is where I want to close my point of view, that there is a lot of positivity hidden inside the negativity, and that's where we need to think of.
Datri, do I have your permission to share a couple of slides?
Yeah, ma'am, sure.
I will give it a try. I don't know how I've not done this on Google Meet, but is my screen visible?
No, ma'am.
No? Yes. Is it?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to tell you that I picked up these from some Nature articles. And this is what people say about this profile of a killer, the complex biology of coronavirus. So a lot of things the coronavirus is doing, and what impact it has made on us is that anybody who has to learn, all the scientists, we have to jump into the pool of knowledge, and from here we can gain a lot. Everybody can find their interesting things from the coronavirus research and bring it for the benefit of others. And this is how the universities are not going to be the same like before. It's going to be now a big puzzle, but I think even the virtual classrooms and teaching are going to benefit everybody, and we will still continue to learn. And this is what I was mentioning, that what we had conferences before, and now what we have the media and the meetings now, it has changed, but the knowledge sharing has not stopped. And then the last is the stress for the researcher is now, previously we used to get big budgets for research. Now we don't know how much money we are going to get and how much funding we are going to get, because a lot of funds have been diverted for COVID research. So this is the biggest stress for a researcher, that how we can continue our research with limited funding that we are going to get. So these are some of the slides I used to make during my reading of any article. I just during the conversation thought I should share it with you people, that I think biggest is that now we should arrange funds that we can continue our research aspirations. That is going to be a really tough time for the next few years for us. So I wish you all of you good luck with your grant application. Hope we get funding and we do good research and publish.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing such wonderful slides. So before we conclude the session, we have a question from participant, but it is not related to COVID or stress management. It is a general one. So it is from Palanta Satya. So she would like to know how to choose a PhD topic, and she would like to know your experiences regarding this. So kindly, any of the panelists who would like to answer this question.
Datri?
Yeah.
I think I want to say one thing, but maybe Dr. Uma Kanga can talk more on this for her experience on this. But I think it depends on what subject she has interest to do. It's not on what we are going to tell her that this is the subject she should do. This is a question that I received during all this time of pandemic from like 4-5 researchers. What PhD topic will be good during this time to start research. No one can force you what you will do until and unless you are really having one big interest on that topic. So for example, you can be a student of botany and you can have a research interest in mycology. You can definitely shift. There is no question that you cannot shift from pure botany to applied mycology. You cannot shift from physiology to human microbiome study. You can always shift to the research interest that you want, depending upon the area is related. But I think the big point would be what you really want to do. If there is like 2-3 points that you really want to do, then talk to one expert related on the related field and ask their opinion that if this is something that is really justifiable. I have 2-3 interest. What is your suggestion? But I think let's first come up with one research interest that you really want to do.
Yeah, and I would like to add to the point that Aparna made, and she really nicely summed it up that it's the interest that should matter the most. And I think that's very important because a PhD is a long-term commitment, and if you don't like the idea sufficient enough, then any failure, and there will be a lot of them, would be associated with a lot of demotivation, and you will not probably feel the need to finish the project that you started. So the prime important thing for starting a PhD is to know what you want to do. And most of the times, maybe getting a PhD may not even be the answer to what you were looking for. There are so many diploma courses that you can also take if you want interested in a subject, because a PhD is an original piece of research that you have to do, and you have to be sufficiently interested by the topic to continue on. And I think identifying what interests them the most. One of the things that I think personally helped me the most was I did a lot of internships before I actually decided on what topic I wanted to do a PhD on, because there were a lot of different things in biology that interest me. So I did internships in biotechnology, in bioinformatics, in microbiology, before eventually identifying that it was ecology that was the most interesting to me. So I think one advice that I would like to give her is to try and explore by doing these short-term tiny projects to see where her intrinsic passion lies in. So yeah, thank you.
I would like also to say, sorry for the noise outside, but I would also stress what Aparna said, because the pandemic situation is hopefully temporary. So it's like you should not be guided by what is more the trend in the topics now, because now of course everyone is trying to understand how the how this coronavirus is working. So for sure, if you have any interest in knowing how this virus works, then you should take advantage of that. But if you're doing that just because it's the trend now, then when it will end, you will be without any motivation to go on. Yeah, instead, if you start by choosing what it really motivates you, so the interest, the topic that you really like and you would like to develop later, you can still make shift in the discipline or in the area of interest, but you will be always motivated, even if there's a pandemic going on or if there's nothing going on. So you should choose really what really motivates and triggers your interest and will to go on despite of everything. So the suggestions for my previous colleagues, I share them. I always follow with my heart. Let's say that whenever people were saying to me, why are you studying that, why this is not of interest, but it interests me. So this is the important thing. I will always wake up in the morning saying, yeah, I want to work. Otherwise, things will change and you will be like, what am I doing now? Yeah. So I support my previous colleagues' advice.
Thank you, Dr.
I have something to add to that. It's a good idea to do some internships and to have various ideas, but the student must also know that, once you pick up a topic and if you like it or you do not like it, you should be very honest with the supervisor and tell the supervisor if you don't like it. Don't be ever scared. I think all the mentors always want the students to be happy. So please, you all must learn that you have to respect your elders and your teachers, but you should be confident enough to go and tell them your thoughts, that this is what is not interesting me and I am confused, and this is what might be interesting. So don't hesitate and just be under compulsion. It's always find a way to talk, find a way to convey your thoughts, and then get to something which you like. So don't hesitate and don't think that, okay, now I cannot tell my supervisor, or maybe people will not like it, or people will laugh at me. I'm changing my topic. No, that's never going to make you happy. So if you want to be happy, choose something and be with yourself and your mentor. That's going to be bringing you the pleasure in life. And you will enjoy the work and working with the mentor. Always the mentors will think good about students. They will never like the student to be unhappy. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Would you like to answer the question?
Yeah, hi Dhatri. So I think because I'm not a PhD, I'm not like enough qualified to actually like speak on
It's
this
okay.
topic.
You can share
But
your
yeah,
experience.
so but like just I want to like reiterate like Dr. Chiara's point. Like yes, like even if it's work, also if every morning also when we get up and we are not enough motivated that that we are going to do something at work or may it be PhD every day, if you are not enough motivated, then there is really no use pursuing that. It may be career,
Really
may
no
be
use
PhD, may it be
pursuing
anything.
that.
But
It
yes,
may
I
be
also
career,
got some
really
pointers
no
for
use
everyone because
pursuing.
if in
It
future I
may
want
be
also
career,
got some
really
pointers to do or follow. So thank you.
Thank you everyone for sharing your inputs. So before concluding the session, I would like to know some comments and insights from our senior members of Bioclues. Dr. Jayaraman sir, would you like to comment on this topic? So Dr. Sundar sir, or Dr. Yasin, Dr. Sugunakar, Dr. Umesh, any of you, if you are interested to share your insights and comments on this particular topic, you are welcome to share your experiences.
Um, yeah, this is Dr. Sugunakar. Uh, yeah, thank you for organizing this wonderful event. Um, I'm not able to get from where to begin, but I would like to start with Dr. Uma Khanga. Ma'am, thank you for coming on webinar with your excellent inputs. Really motivated and uh, my house. I have my wife by name Rekha. I'm a son Pranesh, and my wife manages so well. Uh, and during this pandemic situation, I was at home trying to understand the way she's tackling the situations. So it was really appreciable. I really I got more respect for women during this pandemic. So a great kudos to all the women panelists here, was excellently put forward the way they managed at home, at workplace. Okay, I really like the points what Aparna has said, control, being assertive. So I really appreciate the way the women in biology are doing. A big thanks to one and all for coming over here and trying to share your experiences. And I learned a lot of things from you. So that's a very great thing that I can say that. A big thank you to each one of you, all the panelists, and especially even Datri for doing the repertoire work. I thank you one and all. I have great regards for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Yasin, are you there?
I think Dr. Yashin is not here because she write to me that her internet connection has gone. If Renuka ma'am is there, she can put also, or Santosh. I think Jayaraman sir is also there, but he is not unmuted. But
Dr. Sundar sir.
Hello, yeah. Hi. Hi, everyone. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hello, yeah. So I've been going through this wonderful debate and talk from every one of you. It's really an excellent interaction among all the women scientists around the world. I'm quite, I'm quite thrilled to be here at this time, and I hope COVID has at least done something. It has brought all the people together, and let us go. So we have come closer than ever before. Hope the COVID the menace goes off and we still remain close. And long live the women in Bioclues and long live the women scientists. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Sundar sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your inputs.
Sorry, I think was I audible because I had reduced my.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, yeah, before winding up, even I would like to share some of my experiences. Like it is same with what the panelists have discussed. We got flexibility of time, and we could reduce our time, like
Hello.
because travel time has been reduced. Yes, sir. And after associating with the Bioclues, even we have engaged into some of the other scientific like like either manuscripts, or we have engaged in scientific things. Okay, instead of wasting time, okay, we could engage in certain things which are science related. So this is what these are the positive aspects I experienced during this pandemic time. So finally, I would like to request Presh to give vote of thanks and also to share his experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope my voice is audible. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I think this has been the best panel discussion so far in BioClues. I sincerely thank each one of you, starting with Datri, who has posed wonderful questions. It's 8:21 my time here, India time, and I can see all the lovely smiling faces of all wonderful women scientists here. No hunger, nothing. Your smile itself shows the kind of passionate science that you do. This has been absolutely incredible across all the continents. There are about 17 people watching here, and in YouTube about 15 or 20, and I'm sure there will be many will be watching afterwards. But I just have two comments before I render my vote of thanks. One is I would always request and suggest every one of you to consider COVID as a blessing in disguise. So let's welcome it. Let's love it. There's nothing wrong. I know it has taken a lot of people away. It has taken a lot of casualties. Okay. But rather cursing COVID, hey COVID, you go away, don't come, rather if we keep on hitting at it, it would probably bounce back as a ball bouncing back from the wall. But as researchers, the kind of smile that you have really portrayed today, the kind of wonderful deliberations that you have really put up today, that can also be extrapolated to the young brethren, where you can really take this particular COVID as a blessing in disguise. So utilize this particular opportunities so that I'm sure 8 or 12 people young students who are here, they would have definitely taken wonderful inspiration from you all, from the wonderful deliberations that you have done. Second thing is, there's always, a good saying that probably, we would have gotten a wonderful opportunity staying at home during lockdown periods, spending wonderful times, with probably with your spouse, with your children, and most importantly, taking the lessons, to the next generation, passing on the baton to the next generation. So now, we are very much prepared. What if, if we get, some COVID-like virus in the near future? So we are certainly, well prepared, well equipped with all the science that we are doing, with all the passion that we are doing, and most importantly, all the perseverance that you have really shown today. In fact, I feel very proud that Women in Biology Forum has done an excellent thing under the aegis of all the wonderful mentors and speakers today. And on a lighter note, Datri and myself, would pronounce Kera in a very good way from now. So all the Latin American names, we would start, knowing in a better way, in pronouncing, a very good way. We all really needed that. Yeah. One final thing, I would like to congratulate Datri, Sujata, Aparna, Kera, Uma ma'am, Jayashree, for their wonderful, wonderful time and energy. And I only know one way to appreciate these wonderful discussions. I only do one thing. I can only stand up and congratulate all of you and give a standing ovation. Thank you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Praj, for those very, very kind words. You've been very
Thank you so much, Praj.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Prish, for your wonderful words. So
Yeah,
finally,
thank you. Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah.
Finally, I would like to thank all the panelists, and it is a privilege to have you all here today. And we have learned so many things from you all. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. A nice time.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you.